I'm Wolf from Healing Wolf Coaching, here to read with you through the library of recovery. Let's take a breath, breathing in all the knowledge, all the great books that are out there to help your recovery. Breathe it in. Exhaling all of the words and moving into action. So, as we move on our recovery journey, there's a phase where we are going to be absorbing information like crazy. And there's some amazing books out there. This video is here to talk about them. Like, I'm going to tell you about some of the books that I read that were really influential and helpful for me on my recovery journey. And also going to emphasize that once you read those books, it's time to put the books down, hold the gems of the books in your hands, and set out on the trail. Hopefully the books will give you like these magical gemstones that will glow and help you walk through the jungles of recovery. They're like flashlights, right? So one of the first books I read was The Great Pain Deception. And that's a story of this man's life and how he recovered in a very, very powerful, relentless, brave manner. And his determination through lots of rough stuff was so admirable. And he also layered in a bunch of like all kinds of scientific stuff. And the next book, what did I take away from that? Keep going, keep working. He ran, I believe, for like a year where he had extreme chronic pain. His story was tragic. His wife was in a delivery situation where she was given an injection and paralyzed. The rage within him, the fear, the terror, all of those emotions came bubbling up into extreme pain, and he had all different kinds of pain. And so that's The Great Pain Deception. Then the next book that was really influential to me was The Way Out. And The Way Out, and that many of you probably already know the author of that one because he's the director of the Pain Psychology Center, Alan Gordon. That book was another recovery book, but it was Alan's recovery, and layered into Alan's story were the techniques that he came up with that really helped him on his recovery. I really resonated with that because Alan's story was a lot like mine, and he had a lot of deeply meditative practices, somatic practices, and very Buddhist concepts, which were like somatic tracking, really resonated with me because I had done a 10-day silent meditation camp in the mountains in India. And those practices are the Vipassana practice is about getting very present and becoming attuned to just one thing at a time. So in this case, it was breath, and then turn to sensation, moving up and down your body with sensation. But in Alan's practice of somatic tracking, it's becoming tuned in to that sensation and having that sensation in the forefront of your mind so that you can be okay with it, like you can get used to it. And there are a bunch of other gems in The Way Out. So that's another great book. And as I say before, when you have these books like The Great Pain Deception, that one gave me the bravery, gave me like this inspiration to like get out there. Like he would run in spite of really intense pain. He would go and do it. And that is something that I believe is a big part, a necessary part of recovery, is to jump into life and do really hard stuff so that you can get your nervous system to give you feedback, which is a lot of feedback, big flare, big recovery response. And then over time, it eases down, gets better and better. So you're exposing yourself. That's the exposure model. The Way Out, I loved outcome independence and the somatic tracking. There are a lot of other components to it, but those two, I really began to implement them right away and began to close my eyes and embrace that sensation. And that led to the development of my own practice, which I call returning to the temple, which takes elements from somatic tracking or mindfulness meditation and then layers in a bunch of other visual modalities, a bunch of other visualizations, more creative, more artistic, some really powerful messages spoken out loud, and layers in as well some of the elements of rapid resolution therapy, which I've practiced for about 30 years now. So that book, The Way Out. Next on the list, Back in Control. Back in Control by, I found Back in Control in my whole recovery journey. Most of my recovery journey happened in Seattle area. And Back in Control was written by a spine surgeon there who gave up spine surgery when he realized that the success rate was really low and his patients were actually not having the outcomes that he wanted. So he gave that up and moved into his own recovery from a deep despairing, panicking, depression, pain, all kinds of stuff. I think it was a 10 years in the abyss, he said, or in the pit. And he emerged by studying the work of Dr. Burns, who has a bunch of books too. And now I'm trying to remember Dr. Burns's books, but his books actually are geared towards panic, geared towards recovery from panic and anxiety and relationships. And they're very much geared toward exposure. And so one of them is Panic, and I forget the title of that one. Apologies. I just thought of Dr. Burns because Back in Control, written by Dr. Hanscom found relief from that book, from Dr. Burns's book, from his Panic book in particular, I think. So back to the books. What did I get from Dr. Hanscom's book? From Back in Control, which was geared around back pain and recovery. What I really loved and learned from Dr. Hanscom's book was that joy, a return to life, a really invigorating practice of either dancing or singing or engaging your mind in fun and light, bringing all that back in. It's not just sitting in a room focused on your pain all the time and like making friends with your pain. No, you go out into life too, and you do fun things and you engage with people. And he has a whole program, and the program moves through a bunch of stages, but the final stage is this expansion, this transformation. And that's what I began to integrate, especially through the more challenging parts of my journey. Dr. Sarno had a bunch of great books. They're very intellectual books. They're not very technique-based books. And I think a lot of coaches and a lot of experts in the field have built on his work and moved forward from his ideas. And his work was really helpful for so many, but has been taken to the next level by other books. So Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Connection, I believe it's called. He has a bunch of books, and I read them, and frankly, I was a little confused about what to do. But mainly, his main message was that you're fine, you're okay, even if your spine has a bunch of stuff on your scan, or if the medical people are saying, yeah, you've got some weird stuff going on here. Dr. Sarno would say, oh, we all have some normal abnormalities. So I took that away. It gave me some confidence that I could step back into life and engage with life and be active. And didn't matter if the pain was really intense. What mattered was doing everything that I used to do to show my mind that I was okay, that I was going to make it. So those were some of the books that were really influential. And I'm not going to keep going for too long with the video, but the last one I really recommend as a starting place for anyone with anxiety or panic. And it's actually on YouTube. And she reads it, I think. So Dr. Claire Weeks, Pass Through Panic. That book which I discovered a long time ago, it is foundational for a recovery journey, because she presents a number of keys, a number of secrets, and they're very simple. And I think basically her modality is that you face it. You go right into it, whether it's panic, anxiety, chronic pain, whatever it is, you face it, you accept it, and then you float. Floating means like you relax your body, you relax your mind, and you relax into it. You relax into the anxiety, you relax into the pain. You allow it to be there. And then this one is the one that is preached by a lot of folks now. And basically it is, let time pass. Let time pass. So when you leave the book, you let time pass. You leave all these books behind. You practice what you took away from the books, the keys that you can use to move forward, the techniques, the mindsets, the confidence, the bravery. You take all that and you move forward, and you move in a way that is going to just take what you learn from the book, but you don't have to stay in the book. You don't have to stay academic with it. Just knowing this stuff is not enough. You have to live it, practice it. So Claire Weeks, what a beautiful, simple way to engage and to recover. And that last one, let time pass, she said it could take years. And that gave me a good feeling, because a lot of folks on the recovery journey think, I'm doing something wrong if my pain doesn't disappear, if my anxiety doesn't disappear like overnight. And that's not the case for most people. Some people do have a rapid, just boom, done. But most people, it's a journey, and it's a nonlinear journey, up and down, up and down. There were also some great books I read from the Australians, I think. Lorimer Moseley and David Butler. Forgive me for not having all the authors' names on a list somehow. I just decided that it'd be good to talk about this, because a lot of folks feel like when they learn from all these books or whatever book they're studying, that just having that knowledge is enough. It's like if I read a book about plant nutrition, but I didn't eat any plants. I'm like, I'm just eating hamburgers, and I'm reading a book about the power of avocados. It's not enough. You got to go out and eat the avocados. You got to make you got to sprout the broccoli seeds. You got to eat them to get the benefits of those compounds. So to get the benefits from the book, you actually have to practice. You have to like live it. You have to take the gems from each one, and they might be different for you. You may have a different journey. You will have a different journey than everybody else, but you may have a different journey than the author. And so your journey may be heavier in one realm. That maybe there are sensations in your gastric system, in which case Dr. Clark's book, great. I think his book's called They Can't Find Anything Wrong. And that book also was really influential. There are a lot of new books coming out, really cool. Dan Buglio's got a great new book, very, very straightforward. Anybody can understand it. Nicole Sachs has a new book out. That one's also very straightforward, very simple, very like, and she's focused more on journaling. So that might be what you take away, journaling and calming. So there's just so many great books. And I encourage you to go check them out, to read them, to listen to the audiobooks. Most of them are audiobooks, and the audiobooks are better. I always loved audiobooks because one of my favorite authors, Frank McCourt, had Angela's Ashes, and his book was so amazing to listen to with his Irish brogue. Just listening to his voice was amazing. So listen to the voices of these authors. They're going to read to you, and that brings in the human connection. And that's another point. Like once you're out of the book, go find a recovery buddy or work with a coach. Bring what you learned from the book to the coach. I mean, certainly when I'm coaching folks, I'm directing the sessions a lot. But if someone comes to me, if one of my clients comes to me with a question from a book or from something they learned online, I'm more than happy to engage with them on that and figure out a way to make it a part of their journey, a part of their practice, and really see if it works, because some techniques work great for some people. Dr. Hanscom had a client who fell off a horse, broke his back in multiple places, his spine, many surgeries, came to Dr. Hanscom, said, hey, I need another surgery. I maxed out on opioids. And Dr. Hanscom said, first, I want you to do some expressive writing. And miraculously, he recovered from releasing emotions and that probably wasn't the only thing he did. There's a recovery story on YouTube about it. And I believe his name is Owens, not sure, maybe David Owens. His wife is a famous author, or his ex-wife is a famous author as well, who wrote Where the Crawdads Sing. So as you can see, I'm a pretty literary guy. I'm a poet. I'm a published author. I have many short stories, articles. I even have on Go World Travel, a travel article about my experience in the meditation camp, meditation center in the north of India. So if you have any questions about this, about how to move from the book to the life, then reach out. Please subscribe, follow me, and I'm here to bring more videos like this to you, where I can give you some suggestions and say, oh, go check this out. And then when you're done with that, jump into life. Watch some of my other videos that show you how to implement all that I learned on my journey and all the wisdom that I accumulated. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, head over to healingwolfcoaching.com and just click book a consult. I have free consults. You can come tell me what's going on with you, and I'll tell you how we're going to get you better. Have an amazing, beautiful day, night, weekend, life, and I'll see you in the next video.